This is a tutorial about making portraits for the characters of Medieval 2.0 War. I'm working on a remastered version of Broken Crescent 1.05. I've fixed various bugs and I'm adding some of the graphics from other versions of Broken Crescent that have been released in the past, including from some of my submods. So making the images, this is a tutorial because I found that there isn't a very good tutorial available either in TW Center or in on online, on YouTube and so on. I found the tutorials unsatisfactory. So this is a fairly detailed tutorial. So first of all, I created those images using artificial intelligence. I used Deep AI. You can use whatever program you like. These are the descriptions I've given. At the end of every description of every type of character I want to create, I say something like uniform white background. Yeah, I always say at the end uniform white background and so on. What that does is then it creates the images with a uniform white background. So you see then it is very easy to segment. And so I will show you first two different ways you can segment these images, how to create the portraits, and then how to make the portraits compatible. At various stages you can make them compatible with the Medieval 2.0 War. It's probably going to be a long tutorial. So let's start first with this particular image. The simplest way to edit it is the first. I'll show you this one, and then this one will be a little bit more complicated because it has these very fine details. This here, this creates issues. So this is a Kingdom of Jerusalem character, and this is an Islamic character in general. So let's start with Islamic, which is the easy method. So the first step I take, I'm using GIMP, and I go to colors here, drop down menu, I use brightness contrast. Usually these images, as they're generated by the artificial intelligence, they're very good. Nonetheless, I want to, because they'll be shrunk for the game, I want to make them more contrasty. Yeah? So I increase the contrast to about, let's say 12. About 12. Depends on, sometimes I want, if they're too dark, the faces, play around. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is you go here where it says filter, and then enhance, and then under enhance you go to sharpen, unsharpen mask. Yeah, this one. And I use it as it is. I don't change the defaults. So do it once. And this has caused it a little bit to be sharper, and then it's not very obvious, but it has become a little bit sharper. And then sometimes I do it a second time. Okay. It's a very subtle thing, so it's not very obvious, but it has made the image a little bit sharp enough. Okay, and so the first step then is you go here on the right, where this is the layers, the dock with the layers. Yeah? So at the moment we have only one layer, so you right click here, and then you press on Add Alpha Channel. After doing that, you go on the left over here where it says Fuzzy Select Tool. You can also find other tools, I think, Selection Tools, Fuzzy Select. Okay. So you go here, Fuzzy Select Tool, yeah. You click once on the white background and you say delete. You click another time on the other side, you say delete. Now we have the head, the image of the general against a transparent background. That should be enough for if you're not too fussy, but I'll show you how to improve on that. So first of all, now we save the before we save it, we have to cut it to the size that is used by the game, by the Medieval 2.0 War. And so how we do that, the aspect is 69 wide by 96 high. So this is the aspect we want. So we're going to create the image. We're going to crop it so it's the correct aspect. And then we move this around a little bit. We've got it. And then you go where it says image and then crop to selection. Now we have an image of the correct aspect, 69 by 96. And we say export as, and we're going to save it. We're going to just give it a simple name. First I put an A at the end. So this could be a copy of what we had. Export. So we have this saved as a backup in case something gets messed up and we want to work on it again. But this is too big an image, unfortunately. It's a wonderful image. The AI creates some really amazing images. But we have to reduce it to size. It's in the game. It's really tiny, tiny, tiny size, which is a bit disappointing. That's how it is. It takes less memory. So we go back to image and we click on scale image, and now we have to make this a much smaller image, so 69 by 96. Yeah, and press scale, and then we've got the image that's compatible with the game. Unfortunately, that's what we're gonna get. And then we say export as, and I have already created some images for the Islamic generals. I'm up to 19, am I? Only 19. Is this the correct place? Islamic generals, 19. Okay. I thought I had more. I had a crash in my computer. Never mind. So 19. So we're going to make this, and then this the suffix is TGA, target file map. Target file. So export. Okay, now this is for the generals are young up to 50, then from 50 to older, then they go into another category. We have to make the second image, which is called old, and then when they would die, they'll have to have a third image to create. It's going to be called dead. So I'm going to create, this is going to be the young image. So I've saved it in the file with the young images. Now I'm going to create this slightly older image. In some cases, to make the hair more gray or something like that. But in this case, we don't have hair or anything like that. But I want to make it look a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, increase the view so we can see a bit better. Zoom, where is it? Zoom, where are we? Okay, here, 2 to 1. Okay, I can see it a little bit better. It's still not very good. We go to colors, and then here, curves. And under curves, I'm going to make the eyes, the dark areas in general, the very dark areas, the eyes and eyebrows. I'm going to make it a little bit grayer by pulling this up a little bit, and then pulling the rest of the colors down. So the rest of the colors are preset, but the eyes and the eyebrows, here there's nothing visible really. But in some images you can see the eyebrows, for example. They look a little bit grayer, so the face, the dark parts of the face will look a bit grayer. A little bit of a difference. So for example, okay, so this is the old image, and we say export. Now we go here, best Khwarezmi. These are the Khwarezmian or general Islamic portraits of generals. So go here, we have a folder called old, and already at 20. Something funny. I'm suspicious of overwriting something. Okay, never mind. No, I think actually I'm going to call it 1. Okay, export. It's a bit messy, so it's going to be 21. I'm going to change what I did before. Sorry for the mess. Okay. So So I do Control Z, the same as I had before. Export as. And now I'll go back to where it was before and make this 21. I have to remember to correct the other 21 because it's no longer. Okay, and then let's go back to the image we're working. So let's do the same thing we did with the colors, curves, a little bit grayer, eyebrows, and anything that's very dark become a little bit grayer. And then that's now the old image. Now we have to have the dead image. For the dead image, for the Islamic factors, normally the game doesn't have dead images because they're whatever, they're Islamic, whatever, they're not into art of faces. But I consider this as being a memory of the deceased, not a real monumental painting. So for this reason, I'm going to make them just for my own benefit, so I remember what they look like. So I'll go to colors, saturation. I'm going to make the saturation very low. Okay. Or you can make it completely, remove it completely, put it all the way down, whichever you prefer. And then under brightness contrast, I'm going to make it a little bit brighter or lighter and a little bit less contrasty. And so we have this somewhat, sort of faded image of the person without color. And I'm going to save this as, export as under dead here, as 21 Tonga. Now we have 3 images of this particular character. Now this is the easy way to make the images. It's easier if you only have like merchants or diplomats. You don't have to do 3 images per character. You only have to do 1. But for generals you need 3 images. And now here this is the more complicated case. So let's go and do that. Here the problem is all these fine details. It will not come out well if I just do what I did. You'll see the problem, and so I will have to do it in a different way. So I'm going to do it the way I did the other image. You see what the problem will be. So colors again, we do this and make it a little bit darker so it has a little bit more depth and contrast. Okay, then having done that, I go to filters, enhance, sharpen, and then I say okay. It's become a little bit sharper, it's subtle, nothing very obvious. And then once again a second time, it becomes even a little bit sharp. Okay. Now if I try and do what I did before, so we go right click on the portrait, add alpha channel. I'll have to remember to remove it, and then do this fuzzy select tool. Okay, selected something and I press delete. You see there's all these white areas left around the hair because the hair is so broken, and even if you play around it's just too difficult to remove them. So we have to do it another way. So I'm going to take a few steps back. Go edit, undo, clear, edit, undo, fuzzy select, edit, undo, alpha channel. Now we're going to use a different method. Different method is much more lengthy. It's much lengthier. So you go right click again on the image here and the layers dock, and then you go into duplicate layer. So we have a duplicate of the same image. Now we go into this duplicator layer and you go up where we were before colors. Now we take the saturation all the way down to 0. Okay, and then we go to colors and we go to curves, and now we're going to do something that's a little bit weird. I hope you can follow this. We move the light parts of the image, we'll make them here, about maybe here. I think it might work about here. And this was the dark or the light ones. The dark parts, we move them up here. Yeah, about right. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a very annoying thing. But here we are. we press OK. So we have a slightly more contrasty version of the image. Now we take the drop tool, which is this one, color picker, and we pick the dark. Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, what is this? I didn't pick. Try again. Okay, now we have black, and then we turn it around, click on this. Now we have the white, and we pick something the white. So image now just has two values, has white and black. So, but you need to do this. This is all like 0 on this, or it's the other way around. This is 255, and this is the black is 0. So that just the image is either, the pixels are either 0 or 255. There's nothing in between. The way we made it. And so we're going to create a mask from this, but we have to delete these white areas. Here, the person should be black, including the hair, and the background should be white. So this is going to be tricky, but follow me and just do what I'm doing. So opacity has to be all the way out, 0, 100. Hardness all the way out, 100. Force all the way out, 100. Then the size, we can start with the bigger size here. We say size. We'll go for something 54 is good. And now we make all these areas that are here in the interior of the person, we'll make them all black. Oh, sorry. We choose the eraser tool, not the brush tool. And we'll make these with the eraser, make them all black. And by the way, yeah, it should be normal there. I think the other ones might work, the other options for painting, but normal works. And then you have to be very careful, and this is very fiddly and very frustrating. This is time consuming to get all these interior areas that are white in the image, make them black. Don't mind. Some of these areas in the edge, they will not be included in the image, so that's okay. So I make these all black. Now this is going to be fun. So we have to check where we are with the image. So if we click on this visibility icon here and click on it, we see what the image looks like with the mask we are creating, and the mask we are creating. So I'm doing this to check what I need to delete and what I need to leave. Okay, so there's a bit here, I can delete this. And this part I can delete. And these bits I can delete. Or I can make them black. Ah, it's so fiddly. Just very, very, very fiddly. This is all black. Here I have to use a finer brush to finish the details. Ah, damn, that's wrong. Undo, Control Z to undo. I've gone too far. Okay, I'll have to work on that a little bit later for the fine details. And now we have to make the hair that's white. We have to leave the hair that's black, okay, but I have to delete the hair that's white. I have to remove it. So the hair that's white has to become also black. About here, I think. It's very troublesome making these portraits if they have all this hair. This is an extreme example for illustration. Oh, no, the wrong one. Okay. This is, wow, this is amazing. Okay. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. I have to work later with a finer brush. Okay, we can take it up to about here. Up to about there. Oh my god. And this? I've done the right thing. Yeah, okay. And now I have to use a finer brush, so I'm going to make from 54 down to some small number. 16, maybe it's too small. 18, whatever. So I'm going to make these areas here black. You can skip to further down because this is not terribly exciting. You've seen the principle. This is a bit of a... Have I done this correctly? Not really sure. Anyway, no big deal. This is, I've chosen an image that's really very difficult. Okay. Here I can work. What's that? Yeah, this can go. Oh, damn. Oh, come on. Okay. And up there, I think this is nothing here. And this bit here, really black. And there is, it's good enough. Never mind. It's good enough. Over here, this is the most difficult possible image. I'm about to give up. I would have given up if I wasn't making this tutorial. Anyway, that's close enough. Oh my god, something like that. I think we've got it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but okay. And so then, having finished, gone as far as that, let's say this is more or less done. We go to colors again, and we choose invert. Now we have a ghostly image with the person in white and the background in black. We go to edit and we say copy visible. Here on the left, copy visible, and then we click on the visibility icon here, make him invisible. And then we say here, we say add layer mask. And we say white, and we say add. Okay, and then we go back to edit, and we say paste. Okay, suddenly all this background is gone. And you see this also transparent between the hairs and everything. So it's been semi-successful, not completely, but it's looking good. 99 point something% successful. There's a few errors somewhere. Never mind. And then having gone as far as this, then you go here with this green anchor icon down at the bottom. You click on it. And now we can delete this layer. Where is it? Duplicate layer, delete layer. And it's not necessary to delete it. Never mind. So we've deleted it. So we've got this image that we wanted with a transparent background. Then we go up here. We have the rectangle select tool, and we click on it. And now we create an image of the correct dimensions, 69 by 96, the correct aspect, let's say. I'd say this is kind of okay. something like that. Yeah, I think that's about right. Okay, and then under image, we go to crop to selection. So this is now going to be the image of this particular character. We're going to save this just to be on the safe side. We don't need it. I put an A at the end like I did before and export, and we have it saved somewhere. Now we have to scale it down to 69 by 96 scale. This is going to be what it's going to look like in the game. And then we'll say here, export as, export. Now this is going to be, with this case, we're down to 12 only. So I have a long way to go. I have to make more than 100. Early days yet. Okay, so for some reason my recording stopped. I'm recording again. So we're continuing. So that was the first part of how to make the images. You get the basic idea. The simpler ones, the more complicated ones. Now these images, once they're created like that, they will work in the game. However, sometimes in some of the windows, for example, you click on a character, his portrait comes up with his auxiliaries and so on, his traits, and maybe his army if he's a general. Well, his portrait is framed and the background will be white. It's okay with me, but if you don't like that, I'll show you how not to have that. Also in the family tree, the backgrounds of the characters will be white, and if you want to give them a background that's not white, this is how you do it. It's very complicated. I'm not sure if it's worth it, but I'm going to show you how you do that. So for Islamic characters, I have this background I have created, and here is, let's say, it's a character we want to work on. Let's make him also a little bit bigger. So in view, let's make him also to so increase him so we can see him a little bit better. This is one of the characters in the game. Right now he doesn't have a background. So the king or the sultan has a background, already done it. But this guy doesn't have a background, so I'm going to work on his background. So the first step to do is you go on the right where we have the layer dock. You right click and then you say add. So you say you choose new layer. Yeah, I think so. Yes, new layer. Okay, I've got that. Then you go out here to this background we want to put behind him. It will appear sometimes, and other times the background will be transparent. The game takes care of all that, but ideally the game wants a background as well, and you have to have two layers. So here's the background that I've chosen. So we can say edit, copy, and we go back to our character. We have created this layer. Where the layer is, you go here where it says edit, and now we say paste. And to combine these two, you have to click on the anchor icon. Now we have two layers. A top layer has the person in a transparent background, which the game understands, but there's sometimes the game wants to add yet another background behind him, so it's not transparent. And this is going to be the second layer. This is going to be the additional background in a different layer. So we have now these two layers. We're not there yet. We have a long way to go. This is a very fiddly procedure. I had once worked out a better way to do it, but I've forgotten it, so we have to do it this way. So we put now the portrait with the person's portrait at the top. Yeah, this is at the top. The background is in the second layer. Then we right click on the portrait here. And from the drop down menu, say add layer mask. Here we choose the one that says the third option down, layers alpha channel. And we say add. So now we have the alpha channel. That means the background is black, the transparent background has become black, and the person has a ghost. Now there's a white ghost where the person is. Now we click on the ghost icon, this one. We say Control A and then Control C. And now if you check here, our character now has this doorway, this Islamic doorway behind him. Yeah, it's not very obvious, but it's been added behind him. Then you click now on the portrait icon and the portrait layer. Left click first and then right click. We get the drop down menu. From the drop down menu list, we choose merge down. Now everything has been merged together. We're not there yet. Now it looks, this would be how it might look, for example, in the family tree. Now it will have this background behind it. Otherwise it will be white. And if it's white, it's not always looking so good. So now it has these features, this kind of doorway behind him. Then where are we now? Yeah, we've done the merge down. Then some reading my notes. So this is a very, very lengthy process. 2/3 of the way down. So we right click in this area where the layer is and say add layer mask. We're not there yet. And this time we have to choose the fourth option, transfer layers alpha channel. Say add. Now we get a white window next to him. You do Control V, and this is going to create this thing we had before with various windows. And then you click on the anchor and the ghost has reappeared. Yeah, so two of them have been combined. So we have again the ghost image next to the subject. And then we right click once again in this area to open the drop down menu. We click on apply layer mask. Another two have been combined, and you see there was a background here, and the background is gone. Yeah, this doorway, this Islamic doorway, is gone, but it is remembered. So what it's done now, it has internally within one image created like two layers, and the game understands this is how it works. It's only one layer, but it has internally a second layer that the game engine can find and can use it when it wants to, and otherwise it doesn't use it. Okay, and so now this is done. We say file, export as, and this is the young, and I'm going to make this 001. I'm going to say export, and I think we're done. So okay, this is, I had already made it, but without this background. So I'm making the background, adding the background now. And hopefully this has worked. And if it has worked, I'll show you after this what the images look like in the game without the background.